Steam has been an incubator of lots of interesting experiences over the last many years of its existence. In fact, it may be gaming's most effective environment for new, risk-taking experiences these days. Experiences that, had the platform not existed, would either never get released or surely be altered in some way. One of Steam's more interesting multiplayer experiences we've seen crop up in recent months is Dread Hunger. Before we begin, please consider subscribing and enabling all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's get started. Dread Hunger is a perfect name for this game, as it seems to be mostly focused on those two things. The game puts players in the boots of travelers in the 1800s, who are on a mission to make it across an Arctic environment littered with icebergs, food shortages, blizzards, and other unavoidable challenges that require cooperation between crew members to overcome. The twist is that some crew members may end up taking a more selfish route and choosing to sabotage their crewmates' efforts in order to ensure survival of themselves. From a new team, the title does seem rather ambitious, with elements from recent efforts in multiplayer pirate games, a dash of Minecraft, and some clear parallels with Among Us. Dread Hunger is clearly looking to deliver a unique experience but made up of elements that most gamers will find familiarity with. This is a great strategy for a new IP to have, as it can advertise itself as a fresh take on things without necessarily being too outside the box. Existing in the online cooperative multiplayer genre certainly puts it up against a vast and steep competition, but perhaps Dread Hunger has enough going for it to cut through and establish itself as a premier experience of its kind. The first thing you'll obviously notice is the game looks great. It doesn't go above and beyond with detail generally, but that's not exactly something a game of this type needs to do anyway. Sea of Thieves and most other games of this sort rarely aim to outclass their single-player counterparts in that department, and for good reason. The focus should be on the cohesion of the environment and the tasks at hand, and of course, making sure the game runs well, which, based on much of the reception to the game's early access build, it does. The vistas are beautiful, the character models are finely built, and of course, the ship and Arctic tundras all look equally fantastic and polished. Dread Hunger might have some shortcomings here and there, but the visual presentation is not one of them. According to the game's Steam page, Dread Hunger will have players making grim choices to stay fed, much like travelers of the 19th century often did, helping steer the ship around icebergs, plan your off-ship expeditions around a day and night cycle that will alter your obstacles, and of course, deal with random whiteouts that will blind you and your team from being able to see much of anything outside of your immediate location. This, of course, only applies to the typical crewmate. If you start to feel the squeeze of the elements too much, you may just be tempted to kill a fellow traveler and use their weapons to defend yourself from rabid wolves or other crew members. Working together with your crew to repair the ship, scavenge for resources, set traps, defend against the elements, and of course, shovel that all-important coal into the ship's boiler for fuel all add up to a rather compelling experience. Once you layer the betrayal factor on top of it, it's easy to imagine that things can get rather complicated and engaging awfully fast. And with that, so can the experience for the end user. Most user reviews are positive so far, with players often citing the game's balance of betrayal, resource management, and cooperation as its best element. Many players are bringing up how much fun they're having seeking out who is most likely to betray the group and weed them out, or that they themselves are enjoying doing the betraying, and often getting away with it, only to have to suffer through the elements on their own later. It's not a perfect list of glowing reviews though. Many have mentioned some glitching and various networking issues, but it doesn't seem to be enough of a trend that I see a reason to avoid it or wait a substantial amount of time before giving it a shot. There are also some players mentioning that being paired up with random crewmates has led to chaotic sessions where tasks don't get completed and it just quickly dissolves into massive free-for-alls where everyone dies and nobody really gets anywhere. Which is really more of an indictment of the genre than this particular game, but the point is taken nonetheless. It's understandable that a game of this sort in early access would have some edges that need ironed out over time, but given that the team behind the game has been quite responsive to feedback, and the community has thus far stayed engaged with the experience, I suspect we have little to worry about and plenty to be excited about as Dread Hunger continues to grow into its own boots. Dread Hunger is aiming to have its full version released within 6 to 8 months of now, and if all goes well, that full build will have a fully functional ship more maps, additional characters, more customization options, and of course, achievements. So, as most early access games tend to, the feedback and reception the developers get now will have a huge role in shaping the experience as it goes along. So, if it seems like something you may be interested in, this might be the best time to set sail and see where it takes you. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.